because they're blasting her like she was never the champ.
Yeah.
Like she was never the scary fighter that she was.
Yeah.
Everybody moves on. Somebody better always
100%.
comes along.
Yeah. It's just, and I think you get spoiled when you have guys like Tom Brady and like, LeBron, and you had Michael, where it's like people are human. Like, I had my prime, I had my peak. I'm still a good fighter, but hey, like, I'm not the most dominant anymore. It's okay. It's somebody else's turn. It's like everything else. People retire. People walk away.
And the biggest thing for female fighters, they sacrifice so much more than the male fighters. I mean, to give up the childbirth and like be a mother and a family.
For sure.
And she's dedicated 20 years of her life to this
100%.
sport.
And she was so emotional.
And she has a window of how long she can be pregnant or get pregnant. So she wants to start a family.
She was like, guys, I want to have kids. I want to have
it's like her.
Even because like when Ronda Rousey lost, and people were just dragging, and again, everybody has mixed emotions about her, but people were dragging her like she wasn't a 7-time champion, like she didn't defend her title. It's like, okay, I lost, like it happens. I'm not invincible, right?
Everybody, except Habib,
or John Jones.
Yeah, you know. Well, he has the loss.
No, come on, we're not doing that.
But
he does.
It's a loss. It's a loss. No one has gone into the octagon and beat that man.
And Matt Hammer will tell you it's not a loss.
But even
I'm saying he was in this restaurant.
He said no, he didn't want.
But even Jones got credit for the win because he lost himself. He made himself lose.
So he won.
He won because
he won by losing.
Yeah, he won by the disqualification because he created the injury.
Wouldn't that be funny? Like you're losing a fight, just do something illegal.
They do all that happens at WWE all the time.
Kick him in the head when he's down. It's like, oh well, hey, I got disqualified. It wasn't a loss.
Well,
kick him in the groin. I mean, they do that a lot. A lot of fighters.
And that's what they said about the Sterling fight. Yes, it was an illegal strike, but he did what he did to win whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Now Smith wouldn't do that.
Then he came back and redeemed himself completely on the next fight.
Shocked a lot of people.
And he looked like the true champion, undisputed.
Honestly, Sterling and Charles DuBronx, I think they had two of the most controversial, like the way they won their first championship, the way they won the title, people really discredited them. And the way they came back and defended it, I think was like really, really awesome.
Absolutely.
Like, both those guys, like a lot of respect to them, because their name was getting dragged through the mud for the whole year that they,
And my take on that is, who cares? I know that everybody claims they care what people think and what people say, and by him taking that win by DQ, it put more money in his pocket.
100%.
It made him the champ, and like you said, he came and proved the point, which nobody really thought was going to happen.
I didn't, for sure.
Right, most people didn't. So I would say this all the time, an illegal strike, the eye poke, and they're like, I can't see, but I'm going to keep fighting, and then they get knocked out 30 seconds later, right? And that's why I've always said it's unfortunate that you're not penalized enough after those kind of fouls, and so you should keep doing it, because the fighter's not going to say, no, I can't move on.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, because as an athlete and a competitor, you want to have that toughness that it's like, hey, I'm going to push through this adversity, and if I succeed, it looks great. Like, oh, hey, like Jordan flu game, and I have this iconic moment. But more times than not, you end up looking bad. Right. Like look at Baker Mayfield. He was in a great situation. He gets hurt. He's like, I'm going to play through the pain. Plays bad, and like, hey, we're done. We're done with you. Right. Find job elsewhere. So it's a tough thing. The lady who fought Valentina, she gets her eyes swollen. Like, hey, do you want to continue? She was winning that fight. Right. And then all of a sudden, her right side of her face is swollen. She can't see anything on her right eye. Starts getting tagged up. Ends up losing. And so it's one of those things where it's like, hey, like you can keep going, but you really shouldn't.
You shouldn't. And in that case, if she wouldn't have continued, they would have probably had an automatic rematch.
Yes, exactly.
Because she was winning the fight.
Yes.
And now, I've read there is no rematch plan. No. Because she lost.
And I think that's where your corner should step in and be like, hey, like my fighter wants to keep going, but she should not keep going.
But if you're who's the boxer out of Alabama who did the show?
Marcus Brigham?
No, the former heavyweight champ.
Oh, Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Then you have somebody, a respectable person in your corner, stop a fight and he gets fired.
Yeah, I mean, hey, but you did right by your fighter. Sure. Because I mean, the truth of the matter is, if Deontay Wilder's in the same situation that Colby Covington and Daniel Cormier find themselves in. You are the best in the world. You're an all-time great. Except there's that one guy that you just run into. You know what I'm saying?
And there's numerous.
You beat up everybody else.
Right, Kenny Florian, Uriah Faber.
Yeah.
All those guys, they get to there and they just can't get over.
We had this discussion with a good friend of mine about Aaron Rodgers yesterday, and like Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Peyton Manning, bad guy. Like, if not for Tom Brady, you're like, hey, those might be the two best, even without the 4 Super Bowls like Steve Young and those other guys. Like, you'd be like, hey, these are the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. But Tom Brady won 7.
How come Jim Kelly gets no love ever? Goes to 4 straight Super Bowls. And it's a team sport.
Yep.
Norwood, he makes that field goal. People think differently. But I've always found it funny that Buffalo Bills team that pretty much stayed intact for 4 years went to the Minnesota Vikings.
Nobody cares about the runner-up, man.
No, I couldn't tell you who the runner-ups are.
It's rough. It's tough because you're a great player. You're a great guy, but nobody cares who came second.
Let's go hit our final break of the afternoon and then come back and close this out. This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong and Staff Summer. We'll be right back. What the